All right. Hey, we are really excited that you've joined us this afternoon to talk just for a few moments about the Ministers Mastermind. It really is a dream come true what we're doing here, but we also understand that there would be a lot of questions about it. So we want an opportunity to tell you what a Ministers Mastermind is and what we're doing, what the goals are, and what it's all about. So first, we probably ought to begin by telling you a little bit about ourselves. And my name's Duke Matlock, and I've been a pastor and a coach for over 30 years. As a matter of fact, this year is the 30-year anniversary of my ordination. I was ordained 30 years ago, 1987, in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Ron McManus actually laid hands on me that day, all those years ago. I've been a church planner. I've planted 2 churches. I have also been on staff. I was on staff at a mega church as a family life pastor. In my last church, I served nearly 20 years as the lead pastor, and we started very small, and we grew a medium-sized church. It was a very healthy church, and we had great ministry there. Now, for the last 3 years, I've been an executive coach. Over 90% of my clients are pastors, and they're pastors of larger churches. I say that I coach accomplished leaders and their teams. And so I coach people from really all over the country, and I travel all over the world. I also have written a book, Get Up and Grow, 21 Habits of Successful People, that we self-published at the beginning. And right now, I think in March of this coming year, it'll be available in bookstores. It was picked up by Morgan James Publishing, and you'll see it all over. We have a website and a number of ebooks that are out and things like that. And so I'm one of the facilitators of what we're doing. And the other facilitator, I think, is he'll introduce himself, Tom.
Hey, Duke, thanks. It's great to be here with everyone. And we're excited to be a part of this mastermind, really excited about it. Something that we've been talking about, praying about, and looking forward to really for some time. A little bit about myself. My wife and I, my wife's name's Candy, were missionaries with the Assemblies of God for almost 18 years. We served in Budapest, Hungary, and then our last 12 years was in Vienna, Austria, where we were missionary pastors, pastoring a great church, Vienna Christian Center, a church that really was an international church, but we had services reaching many different ethnic, cultural groups of different sizes. So every weekend we had 9 different services, 9 congregations really. And some of those congregations were as small as about 50, 60, to our largest group being about 700 or 800. And in total, it was a couple thousand members to the congregation. And so it was just a great time and a great season. And it was in that ministry location and time that we got the invite to come and go into a pastoral transition here in Fort Lauderdale, where we're currently serving at Christian Life Center, Fort Lauderdale. And so that was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago now that we were elected, and about 5.5 years ago that we landed here in Fort Lauderdale, coming off of the mission field. But it's been a great journey these last 5 years, and we've just really seen God do a lot. When we came in, the church was average attendance on a weekend, not counting outreaches and prison ministries and nursing homes and all of those ministries, but present on campus was about 1,750, 1,800 on a weekend. And we're averaging right now on a weekend anywhere between 2,850 to 3,000. We stay within that range on 4 campuses. So about 2 years ago, the Lord led us to begin to implement the multi-site strategy and motto of ministry, and it just took off. We launched 3 campuses all literally within about a year period of time, and we're in dialogue right now about another couple. So it's been a great 5 years here, a little bit of our journey. Went to Southeastern here in Lakeland, Florida, got my BA degree, went on to our Assemblies of God seminary for my master's and MDiv. And then just recently, I was able to finish up the doctoral program at AGTS, the Assemblies of God Theological Seminary as well. And the study there really was in leadership and church growth, church development, and church renewal. And so it's exciting to be a part of this mastermind. Duke?
Tom and I have very complementary passions. Tom, I'm really about minister growth. I mean, that's really my passion. It's what I'm hungry about. It's what I think about. It's what I do. It's what I do literally every day. And Tom is really passionate about ministry growth. And both of us are writing about our passions and doing those things. But our role here is facilitators. You know, the thing about a mastermind is that a mastermind, it doesn't become a mastermind until everybody offers their own genius. So it's almost like each person brings their experience, their knowledge, their know-how, and they share it with everyone else in the group. So how'd we get to the point of wanting to do this? Well, there's a great research that was done by Lifeway. They looked at 1,000 American Protestant pastors, and while 98% of them agreed that being in pastoral ministry was a privilege, and we would agree with that, 55%, it was easy to become discouraged, and being in pastoral ministry makes them feel alone at times. And the way I always refer to that is that I say that when I coach pastors, it's like coaching a professional athlete, or maybe someone who's a musical person. I mean, they have on average, you let's just use Tom for instance, 8,000 adherents to his church. You think about it, 8,000 people come on a monthly basis to hear what Tom thinks about the world. In that there's a natural loneliness that comes. I mean, just the very thought of that is a little awe, creates some awe in us, each of us that have had pastoral ministry. For most pastors, we are people that, I should say you are people. I don't pastor a local church any longer, but you guys are people that most of those that you come in contact with, they revere you. They look at you with a real sense of awe. And then there are the people that are immediately around you. They fear you because you sign their paychecks. And so it's so easy to find yourself in a real lonely position. Now, Tom had a great experience of that when he was coming from the mission field, how they handled it there and how they handle it here. I think Tom, tell us about it.
Well, I think one of the things that, I've often said to a lot of the pastors, even here stateside, was there was such a community among the missionaries, a bond in a relationship, and they were all doing ministry, different countries, different types of ministry, and they were all there for a purpose. And regularly they would get together. In our context there, it was yearly, we would get together. But it was something that we always looked forward to, that our children looked forward to. And it really built a depth of relationship and unity. And so when I came back to the States a number of years ago now, I was looking for that. I was looking for relationship outside of going to meetings where, our denomination gets together and has meetings and votes on things and, does those kind of necessary items of agenda, but really an environment where relationships could be built, where we could laugh, or wives could be together if we were married. We could not only share meals together, but it always naturally then begins to talk about not only the struggles that we're having, but the victories we're having, ideas of what's working for us. And I really started looking for that. Sure, I'm pastoring a growing church. We're doing a lot of great things, but always trying to keep our pulse on what is God doing, and are there better and more effective ways to do what God's called us to do, so that we can make the impact that he wants us to make. And honestly, I searched for a lot of different avenues to find that, and it wasn't easy to find it, Duke. And I think that's when you and I connected and really began to share our hearts together to see something like that happen.
Yeah, it is. It's true that leaders move, or they transition in different ways. And I always like to think that when a leader transitions, they transition. It could mean that there's growth at their church. It could mean that their church becomes more healthy, or they could go to another location. I love this study from Biola University, that it's a journal of psychology and theology. And they found that leaders grew in one of three ways. They grew in the trenches, in transition, or they grew in personal relationships. And so we know relationships are really important. And what you were just talking about, I think, is absolutely the key. So a year ago, 3 years ago, I resigned my church. And when I did, I started on this journey myself. I can't begin to describe the loneliness that I felt. I mean, I really was lost. And we were growing my new ministry. I was preaching in churches every Sunday. But there was just, I mean, what did that look like? And I had an opportunity. I was invited, not by a minister, but by a Christian businessman who networked with entrepreneurs, and they invited me. And it was the 40 days mastermind group. This is the guys, and I started meeting with these folks. As a matter of fact, I meet with them every week. I spend an hour on the phone on a group call with all of these folks. We do it together. They are all successful people. There's publishers and doctors and people who are in ministry and coaches and people who own businesses and corporate coaches that are there. I mean, all kinds of people. They're all Christians. They're all believers. And they taught me this idea of a mastermind group. And what happens is that they get together on a weekly basis and they encourage each other and challenge each other. They share their ideas and their victories. They read material together, and it is an absolutely phenomenal experience. And as I've shared with other friends, including Tom, about it, I said, I want to do this with other pastors. I mean, I want this kind of a relationship. I'd really like to meet on a regular basis with a group of pastors who are really hungry to grow themselves and grow their ministry. And I'd love to see us invest in one another to see things happen. So these guys really encourage each other. I mean, there's a closed Facebook group. When one of them is going through something in their life, they post about it in that Facebook group, and everybody prays for one another. They pray for each other. They talk about all the things that pertain to what they do. And one of the things that really stands out is Dan Miller teaching us what it meant to lead from a full cup, and how that you can have great success and remain very humble and very giving, and that you can share those experiences with other people like you. And what would it be like? What would it be like to have those experiences with a group of pastors that where we were sharing about ministry, where we could find out, you're launching small groups, or you want to fine tune the small groups in your church, and you come into the group and you present that as a place where you'd like some input. And could you imagine having 15 or 20 other people who are doing it to speak into your situation and to have I mean, Tom, would you find that valuable?
I mean, it's exciting for me to even hear about the possibility of guys that are really making a difference. I mean, they're strategic in their advancement in their ministry. They're really making an impact. But to hear their ideas, to hear one another's ideas and thoughts. I mean, we go to conferences and we're trying to find ideas, the keys in different areas, the different systems, the different areas of ministry. And it's very exciting when you start getting together with others and you all are like-minded. And that's one of the things that excites me about the mastermind, is getting people of like-mindedness, people that have a heart, a drive, a passion, and a commitment to one another. I mean, that we're establishing some, just real significant connections and relationships, but that we're really, encouraging strategic development with one another and growth with each other. I mean, for me, it's something that is invaluable, because a new realm of impact.
Yeah, one of the things they do in their setting is that they do, someone can request it. Anyone in the group can request it. They call it a circle of influence. And in their case, you present a new business idea and they all speak into it. They also do things where they're studying a particular habit or a trait, or they bring in guests. And the way it works there, and I think what our mission is, or our vision is for this, is that someone will talk for 15 minutes and present an idea, give us some kind of a basis for what it is that we're discussing that day. And then we would have a chance to hear from others in the group. But people say, well, does everyone get a chance to talk? Well, I don't think everyone wants to talk every week, or at least it's that way there. If we were to have a topic where everybody wanted to talk, all the calls will be on Zoom. We'll just do breakout sessions, and we can break the group in half, and everybody can participate. So what is a mastermind? Let's define it. It's a community. This is our definition: a community for highly motivated pastors to expand their leadership capacity, share ideas, and build relationships while being challenged and encouraged. You know, it reminds me of the scripture that says iron sharpens iron. We always use it for men's ministry, but in churches, but man, it's just really true. I mean, if I could be challenged and encouraged, my relationship with you is like that, where I feel both encouraged and challenged all at the same time.
Exactly. And, you know, and when you look at that definition, I love the idea of the highly motivated that want to expand their capacity. And I tell our team all the time, we don't know what our capacity is. And we really don't know what is holding us back from the next realm, the next, next level of impact that God's called us to make. You know, even with where we're at, we know there's hundreds and thousands around us, and there's so much more that could be done. And therefore, our capacity is so, there's so much more that God would probably want to do if we could begin to tap into that. It comes back to that scripture, Duke, we know well. We can't think, dream, or imagine what God wants to do. And so that's what's exciting about me, for me in this mastermind.
You know, one of the reasons why I think it's just a great idea is that I work with right now over 20 churches. And often when I'm coaching with a staff member, maybe at Tom's church, or maybe it's at someone else's church, and they're facing something, I'm able to help them network with someone else that's working on the same thing. And they're all hungry for that. I mean, everybody lights up when I say, hey, Tom just dealt with this over at his church, and this is kind of what they did. And you know what? Tom would love to have a phone call. But could you imagine if we were all in relationship with one another, this is kind of a way to connect those pieces together so that everybody has access to each other. So what does it look like? I think that would be a thing. How often would we meet? And here we go. Tom, walk us through this.
Well, some of the things that we've been, even probing and playing with and doing is kind of coming into what we're looking for in this mastermind group. And that is that, we would have bi-weekly calls where we're spending time together, kind of like we're doing here, but more of an open format for everyone, discussion based and I love this idea, Duke, and this is something I think you picked up in some of the mastermind group that you've been a part of, is this one-on-one peer coaching once a month. And why don't you describe what that looks like a little bit, how that works?
So what we're looking at there is that wouldn't be a relationship with me. That would be a relationship with someone else in the group. And so there would be a separate conversation that would go on that would be peer-to-peer coaching, guys helping one another as they're walking through it. We haven't quite identified how the matchup would come, but I think we'd let the group give input into that. There'll be some great minds in there that'll want to have some influence on how we match people up.
So we'll have live group calls bi-weekly, discussion-based, with the augmenting one-to-one peer coaching once a month. What else are we looking at?
So we're going to have the private Facebook group where we'll be able to share wins and share ideas, build relationships, and encourage one another. One of the things that's happening with this is that we really want to go through 12 books a year. We'll probably use the private Facebook group to facilitate the books, the material, what we're learning. I think we'll find some ways to spin it out there. We won't be able to go over all 12 of those books in our meetings because we're really meeting twice a month. I mean, every other week. Won't give us the ability to do all that. But the private Facebook group will be a real sense of community. Now look at this. We're also going to do 2 live events a year. Now we just did one of these.
I was going to say, we just did one a couple months ago, and it was phenomenal to get together.
It was great. It was so great. As a matter of fact, everyone that went, there were 12 of us, and everybody wanted to go back like in 3 months.
Well, now they're going to get a chance to.
Yeah. It really is the truth. And the way those live events will work is that the cost of the event, the meeting room, the facilitating it and putting it together will all be a part of being in the mastermind group. You'll pay your own travel. They'll pay for your own meals, but we'll take care of the agenda and all the things that go into it. We'll take care of all the printed material and things like that. And then we're adding in quarterly bonus calls with leadership mentors. I think that we can identify some folks that can really speak into our lives in some great ways. So who's the group for? People who are ready to grow both personally and professionally. I think we agree that we want to be in a group with people, not people that are perfect, not people that are necessarily have arrived. We certainly don't want to work with people who think they have. We really want to be with people who are hungry, that think there's always a way to get to what's next.
And it's going to challenge one another. It's going to inspire one another, encourage for sure, but that challenge, that inspiration, and that desire, as you said, to grow and to expand, I think is very exciting, and will be a key element to our mastermind group.
Yeah, we want people who want to share ideas, learn from others, who are willing to put in the time and energy to become better leaders. And we know very personally, I do, that if we're not intentional about becoming a better leader, we just won't.
Yeah. And when we work on that, it not only grows us, but it's going to grow the church. It's going to grow our team. In fact, we all have heard the old adage, we can't take others where we've not been, and we can't keep leading our team where we're not going and where we're not growing. And if we can grow ourselves, it's going to grow our team, and it will grow our church. There's no doubt.
We've also opened it up. We say lead pastors, campus pastors, and large church executive pastors. We're looking for people who are making ministry decisions, and who have both the experience to draw from and to contribute, and people who can take the information and apply it in their setting.
That's really good. And I think with that combination, it will benefit different layers of leadership on the large church staff, especially.
Yeah. Now, who's it not for? Well, it's not for the guy that's got all the answers.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's not for those who want to, who are unwilling to participate in the group discussions, meaning they just want to come in and take, and they don't want to give out.
Yeah, because we really want to grow off of each other. We really want to be that iron sharpens iron, as you said earlier, that inspires one another, encourages and challenges one another. And we used to say all the time, Duke, as missionaries, when we go into a country, we don't have all the answers. We come to partner. We come to help accelerate the mission. And that's what I see happening with the mastermind is no one's going to have all the right answers, but we're going to challenge each other. We're going to partner with one another, and it's going to help us all accelerate to fulfill the mission that God's called us to do. So that's really good. I like that. They don't have all the answers, and if they're not willing to participate, this group's not for them.
Yeah, it's really not for the lone wolf either. It's not for the person that just they say I'm a loner. I don't really want to have additional relationships. The fact is that I do. I think that's true of both of us. We want relationships, and we want people that we can do life and ministry together with.
And it's really a self-awareness, isn't it? That you realize you need relationships in your life. You need others. Go back to that statistic that you shared earlier. We need others in our lives, and that lone wolf who's unwilling to invest in personal relationships, they can make it, but that's not the journey I want to take.
Well, here's the thing. When I resigned my church, after 30 years of pastoring, and you just walk away, it was a pretty scary moment. And I started scheduling services, and here was the common thing in every church I went to for the first year to speak, including yours. I went in, and every time I was introduced, the pastor or whoever was introducing me would say, Duke, the speaker today may not remember, but when we started our church, he gave us $5,000. I went to the next place. The speaker may not remember, but it's your case. When I was a missionary, he supported us every month that we were on the missions field.
Yeah.
You know, what happens is I never invested in people's lives thinking I would ever make a withdrawal.
Yeah.
I just wanted relationships. I wanted to help people to succeed. And it's almost like, you know, Harvey McKay says, you dig your wells before you're thirsty. And sometimes you don't know you're digging a well.
Yeah, that's so true. Great quote.
And so here, that's what we want to do. We want those relationships. It's not free. There is a price. It's $250 a month. Let me tell you, several people have said, why isn't it free? Well, the main reason that it's not free is that I want to associate with people who want to invest in themselves to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody I coach is willing to make a financial commitment to be better every single month. And that's what we're doing here. We're not apologizing for that. I think though it's actually a steal for what all we're offering.
Well, no, it definitely keeps us motivated to stay engaged and to take seriously the skill sets that we're going to be looking at. It makes us take it serious, that we want to really learn it, apply it, grow with it, learn from one another. And the value that we're going to get out of it is going to be far greater than the cost we're going to put in. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah,
I always think in terms with my mastermind group. I always think I'm not just paying for the conversation. I'm paying for everyone in the group's life experience. And what's the value to know what all of those people think about a particular topic?
That's good.
And it seems really, really inexpensive. So when would we start? We're looking at a beginning date of August 2017. We're probably looking at probably the second half of that month, having our first meeting. We are looking at a time of Thursdays at 3 p.m. It would last for, each call will last for 1 hour, no more than an hour, not ever. And we also are open to the idea that the meeting time could change depending on the collective thing that people are dealing with, or
yeah. So if there's some conflict in schedules, we can look at some alternative times and days to Thursday 3 p.m. to knock anybody out.
Okay. Hey, were we just talking about relationships? What we're just talking about? I want you to look over my shoulder, and I want you to see that is Guapo climbed up in a chair. It's my very best friend in the world is sitting. He wanted to be on the call today, and Guapo's here. And I failed to mention at the beginning that Mackenzie's here. Mackenzie's our technical expert. She's actually hosting, and she's making it all work. So she's keeping us all straight. A couple more things to point out. And so, what do you do next? What's coming up next? Well, you can the thing is to apply. We'd like to know a little bit of information about you as you're coming in. We currently have 10 people that are already 10 pastors that are already signed up, and they've gone through this process. We'd like you to do it. And so Mackenzie's going to post it in the chat. She's going to post a link, and you can hit that link and find out more information about the mastermind. And you can actually you can sign up there. You can click on the application, or you can go to DukeMatlock.com, Ministers Mastermind, and you can do it in that way. Now, this is my first webinar, and we laughed when we did it, but I don't want you to think it's Ronco, but we've got a special offer that we're doing today. And if you go online, you apply today, we have a new ebook that's going to be released later this week, and we'll send it to you free of charge, The 5 Enemies of Growth. It's about 35 pages. It's great information. It started as a sermon, and then it became blog post, and now it's an ebook, and soon it'll be a course. But you can get it as a gift to you from Tom and I if you'd go on and fill out the application today.
Duke, I'm really excited about the mastermind and getting together with all of the guys that are going to be a part of it, the relational connection, the relationships that are going to form, the strategic advancement that's going to be made by building, the relationships and the partnership in ministry, and just really looking forward to being a part of this journey with everyone.
Yep, me too. I think it's going to be awesome. So we look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.